Hello, what's up again, YouTube world? It's your girl Dana Monet, and I am once again recapping season 9 of The Voice. This is The Voice. Boom, 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 boom. I may or may not do that at the beginning of every recap. We'll see how it goes. So, I'm going to be recapping the second week of blind auditions, meaning night 3 and night 4 of blind auditions. And I just have to say, okay, nothing against country music or country singers or the people who like country, but it was a little bit too much country on The Voice this week and not enough of anything else. Like, especially night 3 on Monday, I'm like, every other person was country. Like, even the people who weren't making it through were country. And I'm like, what is up with this country? Like, okay, we get it. Like, y'all want a country winner this season. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not like there hasn't been country winners. Blake has already won 4 times and he's won twice with country singers. Like, I don't understand throwing country singers in our faces. And again, I am not against country singers. I have liked country singers in the past on reality competition shows, but for me, country singers, they usually don't produce enough fight in their performances and enough, you know, oomph to really, get me going. They country singers, 75% of them, I'm sorry, in my opinion, they always coast. Like, they don't really push themselves, and they don't have to, because country fans will vote for country fans regardless. Whereas somebody who's like an R&B or a pop fan, I'm not going to vote for you regardless. You actually have to be good. Do you understand what I'm saying? But country people will vote for country people regardless. It's just ridiculous. Okay. And there are some exceptions. Like I said before, I don't dislike all country singers, but it's just, come on now. All right. That's my rant for the week. So I'm going to go into who I liked on night 3, which was only 2 people because almost everybody was country, and some of the people who weren't country, I didn't really like them either. So as opposed to last week, when on the first night I liked 5 people that first night, this night only like 2. So speaking volumes. Anyway, Lindsay, she sang Lips Are Moving by Megan Trainor and did a different arrangement at the guitar, and I was really feeling it. I really, really liked it. I didn't quite put her on my team yet. I'm kind of partial to the team that I have right now on the Voice app, so it's hard for me to switch people out because we can only have 5 people, and that's kind of daunting me a little bit. If we could at least have 8, I understand why they don't want to give us the 12 like that the normal coaches have, but if we could at least have 8, I could pretty much have everybody that I like in that my team thing. But I did really like Lindsay, and she ended up going with Team Gwen. And I mean, it wasn't a lot of good people like that to me this week. I liked Manny, who sang that "Here I Go Again on My Own." Going down the only road I've ever known, or whatever that song is. And I mean, he was kind of like generic rock a little bit, kind of reminded me of Caleb a little bit, but Caleb was actually a little bit more exciting than he is. And maybe because he doesn't have all the pyrotechnics and everything like that. But the reason why he's one of my favorites is because man could just sing. He hit all of his notes. He hit a high note. Adam is obviously in love with him. He went to Team Adam. Like, he could sing, and you just can't refute that. And it's kind of like, what was her name last week? Sorry, I got my notes all in the frame. Regina, who was an R&B soul singer. It's kind of like her. It's like, you can't not have a voice like that in a competition. Like, hit all your notes. You were powerful. You were strong. It just wasn't interesting or unique. And it's nothing wrong with that all the time. He's in the show, maybe Adam can, shake some things up a little bit. Okay, and so they montaged a couple more people again. Riley, Cassandra, and Daria. Riley and Daria went to Team Pharrell and Cassandra to Team Adam. None of them sounded like country singers, so I'm upset that they didn't actually show their full auditions because they kept on focusing on this country mess. Sorry, again, my rant continues, and I don't mean to call it mess, but I'm just a little bit PO'd. Country is my least favorite genre of music, but it always wins on these types of shows. Okay. So I thought that was interesting. And one of the people that were montaged, I think it was Daria, she actually got three chairs to turn. Why would you montage somebody who gets three chairs to turn? I don't understand that mess. I don't understand that. Like, I'm confused. Help me understand this. Just help me. Anyway, I'm done with that. Blake actually did snag one person who wasn't country, and that was Chris, and he sang Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran. Again, it was kind of bland and generic to me. Even though Manny was bland and generic, he still had power and oomph. And, it was okay, but I did like him because he sang something that wasn't country, because that's all I was hearing that night. So maybe I'm just being kind of specific on that. And then the end of the episode, the whole like marriage proposal thing, which I didn't even really like watch. Like I knew it was coming because they previewed it on every commercial break, but I didn't actually watch him like get down on one knee and do it. I remember Adam saying something about Blake is an ordained minister, whatever. But the guy's name is Jubilee. It's funny. But that was just like so, I mean, I guess, but and people are always astonished when duos are on The Voice because it's mostly solo artists, but duos can audition. And, we'll get into the other duo, later on in this recap, whom I thought was better than this duo. Actually, I don't really remember Jubal and Amanda that much, except for the fact that they got engaged on The Voice. So that says something about them and their country. But they went to Team Pharrell. So we'll see how that works out. But just because an act is a duo does not make them amazing because they're a duo. Like, can you understand that, people? Like, really? Just because you're a duo doesn't make you amazing. But anyway, we're moving on to night 4 because night 3 was really like a snooze fest and whatever. So night 4, I actually liked 4 people. So we're moving on up, and there were no acts that were montaged. So that was good. And I actually had to go back and rewatch some things because I wasn't completely paying attention on night 4, and I wish that kind of was switched with night 3. I wasn't actually at home, so that's probably the reason. But I did rewatch a lot of these performances on YouTube. And Darius, I have to say, initially when he started singing You Make Me Wanna Leave the One Away, start a new relationship with you, say what you do, babe. When he first started singing, I was like, he's kind of a little bit melancholy. And I think it's because the song starts off so low. For anything began between us, you were like my best friend. It takes a while to kind of get to that heightened moment, but he was doing all kinds of stuff and runs, and I was sitting up there listening to him sing, and I was going like this, and because he was just doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and I was like, yes, you're like really bringing new life to this song. And I was really, really, really digging him, and I really, really like him. And he's on Team Pharrell, and I kind of feel like in the battles Pharrell is going to pair him with Mark because they're 2 black male R&B artists. Because I feel like they're so literal with these battle pairing things. I hope not, because I actually like both of them, and I would like for both of them to stay. And I don't want them to be paired together because I don't want to have to hope for a steal from one of them. But his tone, Darius's tone and his voice, loved everything that he was doing. And I have to remember that The Voice, they don't cut them off in the audition like they do on Idol or like X Factor or something like that. Like, you have a certain amount of time that you have to sing, and you have that whole time to do everything that you need to do. So I'm going to get, even if somebody starts off slow in the beginning, I'm going to give them a chance. And thankfully I did give Darius a chance because I did end up pushing my little voice app button. He's not on my team because they won't let me put more people. That may change going forward because I really, really do like him. And I hope that, he's not, thrown a gauntlet in the battle rounds and never to be seen again. So hopefully he'll stick around. Krista was country, but she was good. She was like an interesting country. You know what I'm saying? And, she had dark hair, kind of like mysterious, and her voice was like a little bit different. And it was interesting. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I can like country singers when you're interesting and when you have a range and when you do interesting things with your voice and don't just sing a song just straight like flatness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can like you if you can bring something different to the table. And that is what Krista did. And she is on Team Blake. So I guess she will be, along with my homegirl from Delaware, Naja, the only two people from Team Blake that I'll be rooting for. She'll be the only country person, and Naja will be the real person that I'm rooting for because she's one of the two people that's not country on his team. So, moving right along, Viktor, who is like Hungarian and spells his name Viktor because that's how they do over across the pond. He sang a song for you, and it came off a little bit like trying too hard to be soulful kind of thing a little bit when I first listened to it, but when I listened to it back, I was like, yes sir, like he was hitting all his notes, runs was on point, tone, voice was magic. You know, he got himself together. He's a nice guy to look at. You know what I mean? He just I like him, and he is on Team Adam. So we'll see what that goes. I always get nervous when people choose Adam because Adam is like really wishy-washy. He can be brilliant or he can be horrible. There's not really an in between with Adam. So, I mean, you know, we'll see. We'll see how he does with Viktor, but Viktor was definitely one of my favorites. And I know that I was kind of hating on duets in night 3 and I was talking about it, and mainly it's because they were country. No, it's not because they were country. Maybe a little bit, but I think it was because of the proposal. Night 3 was just a wash to me. But Andy and Alex, and again, I wasn't home when I was watching it, so I wasn't completely paying attention when they were singing. You know, they're twins and they're cute girls and stuff like that. So, you know, I've read a lot on the blogs that a lot of people weren't impressed with them, or, you know, just because they can sing harmony, you know, and a lot of people just really, really loved them. They ended up going to Team Adam. And I have to say that I didn't love them, but I did really like them. And you know, I get it on The Voice when you end up hearing two voices, the coaches get all excited. I don't think that there's ever been a duo on The Voice that didn't get a chair to turn. So that's a good strategic move. And just because you can harmonize doesn't necessarily warrant you being great or something like that. But I have to say, I am a sucker for some good harmonies. I really, really am. And they really had some really, really great harmonies. I'm not saying that they should win or that they were the best. They were not my favorite of the night. Darius was my favorite of the night. So I'm going to absolutely put that out there. But I did like them. And you have some, you know, some interesting things that they could do. They didn't sing country. They sang Dido, you know, and they had a different type of arrangement. I just don't want them, because they're a duo, to kind of rest on the fact that we're a duo and we have like perfect harmonies. You know, I want them to go outside of their box. I want them to push their voices. I want to hear more than just, you know, cutesy, sweet niceness. Do you know what I'm saying? I want them to kind of, you know, step outside of their box, and hopefully they won't bore me, but they'll probably be around for a while. I definitely think that they'll make it farther than that other duo. I think that other duo is probably going to be out in the battles. Jubal and Amanda. So I think Andy and Alex are definitely going to be there for the live shows. They just are. They just are. You know, that's how it's going to be. One person that I didn't select as one of my favorites, it was actually some pretty good people on night 4. I just, you know, that girl, Corinne, I think that she was like the nerdy girl with the long hair and the glasses. I went back to listen. There's something about her voice that was a little bit too affected to me. So I just couldn't like fully get on the bandwagon. Cole, when I first heard him, I thought he sounded good. And then I listened back on YouTube and I was like, he had the curly hair, and he ended up going to Team Blake. He sang a John Mayer song. It didn't do enough for me, but he has good tone and he's young, so maybe he'll improve. And I guess Alex was the rocker chick girl. She didn't really do that much for me. Celeste, you may think that she would have been one of my favorites just because she's like an R&B singer who sang Love You I Do. First of all, these singers that go on these singing competition shows must improve their lower registers. I mean, she kind of, she didn't start it off low like never met a man. She kind of changed it up to fit her voice. But seriously though, like, this is the reason why I loved Corinne in India so much last season, especially Corinne, because her lower register was so rich and full, and I just loved it. Because they actually had a lower register, like females, even some men in some occasions, just really are all about those big bombastic notes, and they forget that the lower register can be just as captivating. And she was kind of vanilla on that song. And it kind of, and she chose Team Pharrell. And it's kind of bringing me to, I always, I root for my people on these shows, especially women, especially black women, because black women don't really get a lot of love on these reality singing competition shows like that. And people talk about them screaming and this and that and the third. But there's only really one black woman that has auditioned that I really liked, and it's the girl from Delaware. It's Naja. And I'm not even being biased. She had a really, really great audition with Tightrope, and she's still hanging strong on my team. And she's really like the only black female R&B voice that I've liked. I've liked some male R&B voices. But yeah, that's kind of how it's going. And it's not predictable. I can like anybody. Like season 13 of American Idol, Caleb was my favorite. And he was rock. That's not even my typical genre of music. I did like Gina second, but Caleb was my favorite. Although I was rooting for Malaya, but I knew she wasn't going to win. But Caleb was definitely my favorite that season. He just was. He just was. Point blank period. End of story. So, I don't want to be talking about race and stuff like that and make that an issue because it really doesn't need to be an issue. But yeah, so that was the second week of the blind auditions. And I was getting a little bit, kind of down about this season of Voice. I was like, this season is not that great. But ever since season 5, I always make a playlist on YouTube of my favorite voice performances. And when I actually put all my favorites in there, and not all of them are on my team on the app because you can only put 5. When I actually put them all on there, I was like, there actually are some good people, this season on The Voice. When I group all the people that I like together, they're just kind of mixing them all up, and I was like, okay, I got some people to root for. I'm not giving up on this season just yet. I'm kind of sick of the blinds. I'm waiting for the battles. They're claiming that they're saving the best for last. So there's another night of battles. Another night of the blinds. And I don't know if they're going to do one of those episodes like the best of the blinds thing, or if they're just going to go into the battles. I would like for them to just go into the battles, because that best of the blinds audition, like, I don't need to see that. Like, all of the videos are on YouTube. If we want to see the best of the blinds, we just go on YouTube and watch the video. We don't need a whole episode of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh, and another thing I don't like the sneak peeks on YouTube. I like to just watch the show when it airs and see people perform then. I don't like the sneak peeks. That's just my personal opinion. As a side note, I did kind of want to bring up, especially because I was so disinterested in The Voice on the night 3, was that I stumbled across X Factor UK, which comes on Axis AXS. It's a channel. I don't know what channel it is. I have Verizon Fios. If you can find Axis, they show the X Factor UK. And since they don't have the X Factor in the US, I was like, let me check this out. And although, they have some doozies on that show, some contestants that don't got it together, the entertainment value of some of those auditions were priceless. And I'm depending on how I feel about the X Factor UK, I may sprinkle that into my recaps, but I'm not going to devote a whole amount of time to it. But I think they just got done with the boot camp, and then they're going to be moving on to the 6-chair challenge. The X Factor US was the 4-chair challenge or whatever. but there's this group that I really have my eye on X Factor UK, and they're from the Philippines. They are not from the UK. And they sang Bang Bang, and they're called the Fourth Power. They're four girls, and they just killed it. If you haven't seen that audition, you need to go watch it. They are called the Fourth Power. They can all sing. They rapped Nikki's part. Like, they just killed it. I mean, for those of you who don't really like strong, powerful voices, it's probably not gonna suit you, but it was really like for Jessica Sanchez's. Like, it was serious. And their harmonies were on point. I was like, yes. And another group, I forget what they were called. I think they were something Kings, but they sang Uptown Funk, and it was five guys, and the voices weren't that great, but it wasn't about their voices, it was about the production. This was an audition, mind you, and they had like a projector in the background. They had like a whole intro and everything like that, and they had their choreography down pat. Oh, the Bang Bang Girls also had choreography, very fierce, very sassy. These Kings dudes, they had the choreography down. They had female dancers come out in the middle of their performance, just like a regular like artist would, like at an award show or something. It was like an award show performance, or like they were opening up for Beyonce or Bruno Mars or something. They was all in the audience. It was like, up, down, funk you up. Dude did a backflip on the stage. Like, that was seriously like a performance that people should have been paying for, or it should have been on an award show. Or like they should have been coming on X Factor as like the guest performance on results night. That's what their performance was like. So look them up. I wish I knew their Kings. Just look up X Factor, like Uptown Funk. Like, just audition, like, and you'll find it. It's necessary. Bang Bang Girls, Uptown Funk Boys, necessary. So that concludes my little recap here. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And I will be back next week to discuss the end of the blinds. Hopefully it'll be the beginning of the battles. That might be 2 weeks away. But yeah, we're going to keep on doing this. And I'm getting excited again about The Voice. I got disinterested night 3, but I'm excited again because of the people that are good, that I think are good, were really good. So see you next week. Bye.